On behalf of LEORON, I would like to thank everybody who is attending on today's webinar Continuous Improvement Workshop. We have on board one of our best expert trainer, Mr. Tyrone Butler, who been more than 20 years, with his experience. So today he's going to show us how continuous improvement will actually assist to prevent and actually to pass the current economic situation which we're facing at the moment. So it's your show, it's our show, Tyrone, and you go on now.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Rizzi, for the introduction. First of all, welcome everyone to the LEORON Professional Development Institute Continuous Improvement Workshop. And by the way, this is free. So everyone who likes free, give me a letter F for free. I think this thing is gonna probably scroll like crazy. All right, so this is free knowledge. All right, so the good news is it's free. And this is a great opportunity for you to use your time wisely. I know a lot of you are working from home now. You're on either quarantine by yourself, or you're being asked to quarantine based on your government or state official. But either way, you're at home, and I think that's the best thing to stay safe. So I'll start out by saying this. We all know the challenges we're faced with right now. There's challenges that we're used to, such as sickness, accidents, old age, disease. These are challenges of life that we typically deal with on a day-to-day basis. The challenge that we're dealing with now is something in our lifetime we've never seen before. And with every challenge, there's a way to overcome the challenge, but we just haven't got there yet. So what I'd like to talk to you about now is, how do you have continuous improvement even in challenging times? How do you be successful even during challenging times? How do you identify how to get better so when the challenging times are gone, how do you achieve success once you get back to, I won't say business as usual, but when you get back to business, period. So let's talk about that. All right, so first slide. As Rizzi said, I am an executive master black belt in Lean Six Sigma methodology. I've conducted trainings all over the world. I was actually trained by Dr. Michael Harry, the creator of Six Sigma. So as far as continuous improvement goes, I got over 22 years of experience in just about every industry. So when it comes to Q&A at the end, any questions you might have, I'll answer them. I'm also going to keep the chat window open. So what you can do is, as I go along, if I ask you if you understand a concept, you give me the Y for yes, 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 and give me an N for no. If you give me a no, then I might ask you what part you didn't understand. And then if I answer it, then you can give me a yes after that. If not, I'll cover it more in detail at the end. So typically, the actual delivery of this presentation is going to be one-sided regarding me talking. But at the end, I'm going to unmute a lot of people to speak to me with any specific questions. So along the way in the presentation, if you can annotate the title of the slide or the slide, the information that you'd like for me to expound on, I'll have no problem doing that at the end. So take some copious notes as I go along if you want more details, because I have a lot of stuff to cover, But the good news is it's free and it's going to be great for you. All right, next slide. So here are the key business areas or key topics that I'm going to discuss today. And I'll discuss them in order. First topic is customer-centric business performance. If anybody's ever heard of that or have an idea about it, give me a Y. If you've never heard of it or don't know, give me an N. If it's a maybe, give me an M for maybe, which is Mary. If it's a maybe, you maybe know something. Okay, so I'm seeing a mixed bag. I'm seeing some people, yes, some people no, and some maybe. So good, I'm glad we're covering this topic. Second topic will be innovative business models. If you're familiar with this term and this concept, give me a yes here on innovative business model. Or give me a no if this is new to you, and give me an M if it's maybe. Wow, so I'm hearing some N's and M's, okay? So this will be good for you to learn. Next concept, critical thinking. Has anybody heard of the term critical thinking from a business culture point of view? If you heard of critical thinking, give me a yes, a no, or a maybe. That's gonna help me understand this audience. So I'm seeing a mix. So there's a lot of no's too. So this is gonna be great for you. Last but not least, a very famous one here, strategic digital transformation. How many people have heard of digital transformation? Give me a yes, a no, or a maybe on that one. Okay, I think a lot of people have heard of this one. All right, great. So guess what? You just gave me your voice of the customer. So now I know the key areas where I should put a lot of attention. And it seems like the first two got a lot of N's, and the second two not so much. So let's begin. All right, this is our current situation, or at least it's been over the last couple of months. We've been in what they call a pandemic. Obviously, everyone's heard a lot about it, so I won't spend a lot of time here. But what I'll say is, this is Grand Central Station before a virus was identified, and then you look at it after. Before the identification, people were everywhere doing business, doing commerce, moving and doing things. After, you can barely see anyone. Obviously, because they want to reduce travel and keep social distancing. But here's the key point. Right now, the reason why this is the way it is because of fear. Does anyone know what the definition of fear is? Is fear, I'll ask this question. Is fear a thing or is fear an emotion? If you think it's a thing, give me a letter T. If you think fear is an emotion, give me a letter E. Some people said thing, see a mixed bag. Interesting. So let's see what it is. Fear, actually, I'll tell you what fear is. Fear is the feelings, emotions, and reactions from a person. It's the feelings, emotions. So if I say feelings and emotions, that's something obviously you feel. It's not a thing. But if it's feelings and emotions, the next question is, why do you feel this way? And at the end of the day, you have to react. You probably heard of this fight or flight. Whenever you face fear, me, myself, I hate dogs. If I see a dog, I have to either fight it or run. And if it's a strange dog and I don't know him, I'm running or I'll walk very quickly. But I see some people who see dogs, they'll run up and pet them, even if it's a strange person's dog. I just have a fear of dogs. So how do you manage fear? Fear is an obstacle. Fear is an obstacle. You know why fear is an obstacle? Because you're always going to be fearful of something. But the way you overcome fear is you build a bridge. You build a bridge that allows you to go over your fears. So let's look at the current fears of business. A lot of businesses now have the fear, my current business may not reopen after the pandemic. Next biggest fear is, who would buy my products and services? They don't know, the unknown. The next biggest fear is bankruptcy, unable to repay my loans. That's another big fear. Another big fear is unable to ensure business continuity in the future. What happens if this happens again or something worse? How do I take my processes that can't be sent home for remote work, for telecommuting? What about the processes where you have to physically touch something with physical equipment? How do I manage against that? So those are fears. So what I want you to understand is fear in the business world is nothing but an obstacle to success. Once you identify these fears and you mitigate them, then you have an opportunity to overachieve and make fear something that you don't have to worry about as much. So how do we build this bridge? What's the definition of a bridge? A bridge is a structure built, so it's built, it just doesn't appear. It's something you consciously do proactively. You don't just say, hey, I need a bridge and it shows up. You got to plan for it. So a bridge is a physical obstacle, or it's a structure built over a physical obstacle, such as a body of water, valley, road, or whatever. It is constructed for the purpose of providing passage over the obstacle, usually something that can be detrimental if you cross it. Well, fear. We need a bridge over the fear of business. So what would that bridge look like? Well, you have to clearly understand what you're looking at today so you can bridge over it to get to a better tomorrow. So we identified the key fears right now for business are in the blue water right here. And as you can see, there's a bridge here, but how do we construct this bridge? Well, first you have to know where you are today. Today, business revenues are down. That's facts. Sales are all-time low. That's a fact. Bills are going unpaid. Some of them are. That's a fact. Working remotely only for some staff members. That's a fact. Some staff members are sent home and cannot work remotely. So this is your today. Your fear is this situation you're faced with right now. So in order to get to your future, which is what you want here, your future is business revenue is up. Your future is sales are at an all-time high. Your future is bills are paid early. Your future is working remote and option, and other on-site jobs are managed creatively. It could be by robotics. It could be by artificial intelligence. There's going to be a lot of changes after this pandemic because people realize they have a deficit in how they do business today. And I guarantee you, once we identify all the deficit areas based on business continuity, everyone's going to shore up the businesses so this won't happen again at this magnitude. So how do you build that bridge? The bridge is going to be built on strategy, which is proactiveness, innovation, which is creativity, risk control, which is mitigating the risk that we've seen now. And then last but not least, continuous improvement, which is the main focus of what we're talking about today. If everyone's understanding me so far and on board, give me a U for understand all of what I just said. I just set the stage for you. Now that everyone understands perfectly, I'll move on. All right, first topic, customer-centric business performance. What is customer-centric business performance? Obviously, it's dealing with our customers, but how do we deal with them? We have to know the targets. We have to learn how the customers feel about us. That's why we have surveys and we have feedback and we have different types of focus groups and things of that nature. Then we have to align our technologies and process to meet their needs. Then we map the customer journey. Then we engage the staff to make sure they're focused on the customer, transform our culture with the reward system, manage our performance using the almighty KPIs. If anyone knows what a KPI is, I'll be curious. Write in the chat window and show off if you want. If you know what a KPI is, tell us what a KPI is. You might have to write, whoa, some people write very fast. Within seconds, I saw KPI. You guys are sharp. Okay, we got some superstars online. All right, so KPIs are critical, and then incorporate feedback into your design experience. That's gonna be key. And then you continuous. So basically, customer-centric performance is a continuous loop. You never stop. So all of you who know what a KPI is, congratulations, give yourself a round of applause. I don't know how to do a virtual round of applause. What's the symbol for a clap in a keyboard? I don't know. Maybe it's the little things like this. I don't know. Maybe you can type clap, but anyway, good job. All right, so the next thing is, how do you define what you need to focus on? It's your business goals. Every company has a business goal. So what is a business goal? It describes what a company expects to accomplish over a time period. If it doesn't have a time component to it, it might take forever. So every goal needs to be specific and has the time. So a lot of times you heard that term SMART: specific, measurable, achievable. Some people say attainable, relevant. And what's the last one? Anybody remember the last one of SMART? Type it in if you know. Whoa, somebody said time bound. A lot of geniuses online. I'm gonna be in trouble. Everyone's a genius on here right now. So anyway, you have to have your goals aligned to your KPIs. All right. So here's a big difference between a lot of companies that are successful and companies that want to be successful. Successful companies start with a business plan on the bottom, which eventually becomes a strategic plan. But where a lot of companies fail, they create a business plan and let the business plan act like their strategic plan. If anybody's ever seen this, let me walk through and then you tell me if you've seen this before. A business plan starts here. You say, what can we make as a product or service? What is the value proposition that we have? And then let's research it, create a business model, put together our goals and objectives, determine who's going to be operations and personnel, what's the financial return of doing this business, and then this will be our conceptual model on whether we should have a business or not. That's a business plan. But the strategic plan is how you execute. This is where you make the money. You have to start out with what? The beginning, the foundation is mission, vision, and values. If this is incorrect, everything to the right is completely out of alignment. This is why anybody that's ever been trained by me, you always hear me preach, let me see your company mission, vision, and values. Because if your mission, vision, and values is internally focused and not customer focused, I can see why you react the way you react when customers have problems. A lot of people in the old school used to say, I love business, but I just hate dealing with customers. How could that be true? If you love business, you should love customers too, because they're the ones that are paying the bills. So let's look at this strategic plan. You start out with the mission, vision, and values. Then you look at the impact that will have to your sustainability. Then you scan your business to understand, can you meet the objectives that you already put out in your mission, vision, and values? Then you determine your focus. Is it going to be customer focused or is it going to be business focused? Remember, there's several voices inside a business. There's voice of the customer. That could be one focus. What's another focus? Anybody know the voices? Type in there, show off if you know some voices. There's VOC. There's another one. VOB is what? Voice of business. What's another one? VOE. What's VOE? Voice of what? Employees. What's another one? Anybody know another one? So VOC, VOB, VOE. Any others? Someone says partners, it could be stakeholders. True, something like that. Okay, so you got to get all the voices right. And then at the end of the day, you have to perform. So you have the foundational level here, you have the process level here, and the outcome is you have long-term direction. That's what strategy is, long-term direction. Business plan will help you with the tactical piece of it. Where a lot of companies fail is they don't have a good long-term direction. They have a good mission and vision, but the rest of this stuff is undocumented. They don't have a real continuous improvement program. They don't have a real way to manage the customer experience. They don't have a real way to have customer relationship management. All of these buzzwords, it doesn't exist. So if everyone understands me now, strategy is king versus business plan. Give me a yes for understanding strategy. Okay. If you've ever seen a company run their business, instead of using a strategic plan, have you ever seen a company run a business with a business plan? Give me a B if you've ever seen it. I've seen it. Hopefully you haven't seen it. Yep, some people have seen it, where people are trying to run a business with a business plan instead of a strategic plan. And some people said they've seen a mix, which is still a bad thing. All right, so let's look at the centricity that I was talking about. If you're business centric, that means your focus is internal. You don't really care about the customer outside. You're only caring about the internal value of the customer inside. All the customers inside are the ones that have a badge number of the company. So, for example, marketing might care about logistics. Sales might care about operations. These are internal structures, and the business can have KPIs for each. But if they don't look at the KPIs, how they impact the actual customer externally, you're never going to reach customer delight. The customers are never going to be super satisfied with you. And that's what okay companies and companies that are failing are business centric. Now, if you look to the right, customer centric companies, whoa, that's the ones that are making the money. Why? Because they're looking at external business value. They're focused on customer value, supplier relationships, collaboration, the wider marketplace. And what does that do for you? It unlocks untapped demand, change in product offering because you're listening to the customer. So now you know when to change. Like the iPhone. The iPhone was being beat out by Huawei with all these cameras, and then iPhone came out with all these cameras. So they've actually met the competitors or exceeded the competitors. But that's still not the best answer. Trying to keep up with the competitors is still not the best answer. What you need to do is just listen to your customers and do what they say. We have a famous saying in the world of continuous improvement. What we say is, be obsessed with the customers and monitor competitors. Not mimic, but monitor. Monitor means look so that you can understand what they're doing, but be obsessed with the customers so you know what you need to be doing. If everybody understands this slide, give me a U for understand. This is a critical slide. Critical. You understand this, you're getting some wisdom right now. So the key is unlocking business value and potential from your customers. What is a KPI? I don't even have to go over this slide. You guys already know this. You guys are geniuses. So KPIs are linked to business objectives. And what is the purpose of a KPI? To hit the target that the KPI is. And they should be linked to your business strategy. We went over that. And low-level KPIs should be focused on the process level, a department. Everyone's good with KPIs? Give me a yes if you're good with KPIs, and I'll move on. Man, you guys are so quick. This is going to be a very easy webinar. All right. What is customer-centric? I kind of alluded to it a little bit earlier. Here's some key bullet points. Client-centric, also known as customer-centric, is an approach to doing business that focuses on creating positive experience for the customer. It didn't mention profitability. It didn't mention productivity. It didn't mention safety internally. It didn't even mention employee satisfaction. You know why? Because if you're focused on the customer and doing what the customer wants, you're going to be doing a lot of things internally so that you can get a good return externally. If you're having a lot of injuries internally, you won't be able to meet the needs of the customer externally. So if you do things good internally and you're matching that focus with the external, you got a win-win situation. One drives the other. Don't let the internal drive the external. Let the external drive the internal is the point. So customer-centric, what does that do? It provides an optimal experience from the point of sale and after the sale. For example, I have a car, and the output of buying my car is called customer satisfaction. The overarching journey to get that car is the customer experience. So here's what happens a lot when buying a car. You can like a Mercedes-Benz SUV, and when you go to the lot where they sell the cars, you can say, hey, I'd like to buy that Mercedes right there. And the guy takes a long time to come over. When they come over, they don't speak to you really good. They are very disrespectful. So the experience could be terrible. And you would check mark from a scale of 1 to 10, experience low, 1. And then you can say satisfaction of the Mercedes itself. You love that car. You can be super satisfied at a 10. But here's the problem. If your company only captures satisfaction, they're always going to get 10, 10, 10. They're going to think there's nothing wrong with the business. But if they capture the customer experience with the satisfaction, they can see that there's touch points along the way that need to be improved. If you understand now the difference between customer experience and customer satisfaction, give me a Y. Perfect. All right. So as I said before, if you have a customer-centric focus, what you'll get is happy customers. And as a byproduct of happy customers, you'll get loyalty, you'll get increased sales, you'll get everything you want from your business. And if you doubt it, ask Amazon. Amazon is one of the premier businesses that pay attention to the customer. I'll tell you, I wasn't a big fan of Amazon at one point in my life, because at one point, Amazon took 5 to 7 days to deliver an electronic product. I might want a new battery for my phone. Say, hey, I'll go on Amazon and get a battery. It takes me 7 days. I'm like, 7 days to get a phone battery? I'm going to go down the street and get it at Best Buy. So I told Amazon, kiss my butt. I'm not going to do it. I don't care about buying from you. I can get it in 2 hours at Best Buy. You know what Amazon said? Tyrone, we heard your voice. Why aren't you buying from us? Hey, man, because you guys take 5 to 7 days. They said, well, if I can get it to you in 1 day, would you buy from us? Heck yeah, I'd buy from you. So they went after me. So one thing that I like about Amazon, they're not satisfied with a market share of 90% of the customer base. They want 100% of the customer base. They got a team of people that every day, day in and day out, they're looking at customers. And the biggest thing they look at is not customer satisfaction, not customer experience. They're looking at customer complaints, because customer complaints are the biggest opportunity for customer success. So they took my complaint of 7 days and they turned it into an opportunity to make me a lifelong customer. And by the way, they came out with Amazon Prime. And guess what? I can get a phone battery in 2 hours. If anybody else is addicted to Prime, give me a P for Prime. If anybody's done it. I'm addicted to Prime. I don't know if they have Prime overseas, but they have it here. It's pretty cool stuff. All right. So anyway, that's what Customer-centric is about. And I'm excited about what they've done for me. So here's the key. Customer-centricity is going to give you a competitive advantage. If you just focus internally on a business, you may re-engineer some things to be good internally, but it doesn't guarantee you having success externally. That's the key, that last bullet. Business centricity does not guarantee profitability or growth. That's the key. So let's talk about customer focus. Remember, there's an internal customer, badge employees, and external customer. Which one is most critical for your business development, guys? The I or the E? Let's see if you learned something. Oh man, you guys are on it. Perfect. All right. I'm going to introduce you guys to something new you've probably never seen before. You've probably never seen it before because this is something I created based on my 20+ years in business process improvement. Here's what I found. Something I put together I call the power triangle. Let me explain it. It might look kind of busy right now, but I'm going to explain each piece to you. So I'm going to get one of these drawing tools. Let me get my drawing annotation tool, and I'm going to explain this to you. I'm going to get my little highlighter thing. Let's see. It says spotlight. What is spotlight? This drawing, hold on. Okay. I wanted to get a highlighter, draw, stamp, spotlight. I thought this spotlight would do that. Let me see. Okay. Oh, that's something different. Okay, I don't want to do that. I'm clearing that. Clear all drawings. I'm just going to draw then. That's what I'm used to doing, this drawing. Okay, I'm going to draw for you guys. All right. So here's my drawing tool. Let me close this. All right. It's going to allow me to draw. All right, hold on a second, guys. My annotation here. Just want to get this out of it. Okay, as you can see, this is the power triangle. I'm going to start right here. Follow me where I'm drawing. In this corner, this is called the power triangle. And what I'm saying here is business was done in what I call an old business method. And this was before the internet got popular. So we're talking 1990s and before. The internet was not popular. So what happened back then was the company would start with a business strategy. As you can see, I'm moving my mouse by business strategy. So the beginning of a business would be business strategy, which is step one. Step one is business strategy. And what they would do is formulate a mission and vision, and then they would put some quality parameters around it, productivity parameters around it, and customer sat parameters around it. So be it a product or a service, they first put together what they wanted to make and how they want to make it. And then it moved along this triangle to another part of the business. So I call it the power triangle because up top is your business strategy. On the left leg is your R&D. On the right leg is your TQM, your total quality management. So the old school way to get a business started was you start with strategy number one, then number two, you go to R&D to develop the product or service. So this would be ideas that they got, listening to the business voice of what they need to make, and they watch competition. What does the competition make? And we'll make it in comparison, we'll make it a little better. So back then, competition was maybe top 3 competitors. Before the internet, there wasn't a lot of competition. So if you look at washing machines, for example, there was like no more than 3 big washing machine manufacturers. There was like Whirlpool, there was General Electric, Sears, and maybe a couple of other competitors. So because there was low competition, they really never focused on the customer. So there was no real customer engagement. They were utilizing focus groups, but they weren't utilizing the customer experience that I talked about, and they weren't utilizing customer surveys to the point I'm talking about. So R&D was a lot of internal stuff. So after it went to R&D and they made the product, then they would expect customers to come in. So this is your business. Once you create the strategy and you make the product or service, the expectation is customers will start zooming into the triangle to be part of your business. Sometimes that happened, sometimes it didn't happen. Step 3. Step 3 says, if we is the promise keeper, which means how do we keep the promise of quality? How do we keep the promise of productivity? How do we keep the promise of customer satisfaction? TQM was the promise keeper. So I'm putting a star right here. Total quality management was focused on process thinking. What we said is, if we can have great processes, then we should have great quality, great productivity, and great productivity and quality should equal to customer sat, and it should equal to sales. So the old school thinking was, if we make a quality product, sales are going to increase. So doing TQM is a winning scenario. Well, in all actuality, it wasn't. Over time, the internet came. So let's look at some of these companies that failed when they only took a focus of R&D instead of using the voice of the customer. As I point to them, if you recognize it, give me an R. Nokia only did R&D and didn't listen to the customer. If you recognize it, give me an R. BlackBerry, no keyboard change. iPhone came along and killed them. Remember BlackBerry? Give me a BB for BlackBerry. Now we got another one, Blockbuster Video. Give me a BV for Blockbuster Video. Netflix took their place. Customers said they wanted things online. Borders Books, customers said they wanted things online. Kodak Camera, customers said they wanted digital cameras and pictures. And these companies failed to innovate based on the customer. So if you can clearly see now, not listening to the voice of the customer will kill your business. Give me a K for kill. If you see that not listening will kill you. Perfect. I'm going to move on. So not listening will kill your business. Now I'm going to go to the next slide. Now watch this. The next slide says, this is the new business model. This is the new business model. So I'll start from the left again. If I start from the left now, you can clearly see that in the new business model, we start at a different place. So with the new business model, look, 1990 and beyond. This is after the internet explosion, a new business method came along. And that new business method, instead of number one, starting at strategy, now you start at what the customer wants. You listen to the voice of customer. You look at the customer experience. You look at surveys. You look at a lot of different data collection techniques to capture the customer. Kano model. Some of those things were used to understand. Now we're looking at these people. These people are like me. Remember, I was one of these Amazon people that would never go into Amazon's business. Once Amazon listened to me, they captured me and put my smiling face in here. This is me inside Amazon's business. So not only get Amazon got me, they got other people, they got other people, and they got other people. So as you listen, you capture people's mind. Now, number one was listening. What's number two? Now, number two is the strategy. And look at my mission and vision. Instead of my mission and vision being business focused, I flipped it around and made it customer focused. And now I capture knowledge about the customer using Kano model. I capture knowledge about my business capability using SWOT analysis. I capture analysis using PESTLE model with a political environment. And I use balanced scorecard to understand my internal capability to deliver quality. So I'm doing a myriad of things here, and this is a strategic point of view. So after I do number one, listen, number two, build a strategy, then I can build something not based on R&D, but use my new technology. I'm gonna use technology and innovation. What is technology? Technology is a new way of doing things. What is innovation? Innovation is a creative idea put into action. Innovation can be bad, it can be good. You can have an innovative way to talk to someone by texting. That can be an innovative way to talk to someone. Or you can be a prisoner, or you can be somebody in cybercrime and find an innovative way to steal people's money. Both of those are innovation, positive one and a negative one, but innovation is still just an idea put into action. So a good example of that is the iPhone. Steve Jobs says, how do I take a phone that we have today and mix it with my MP3 player and combine it into one unit and then sell it? And people said, oh man, if you make that, I would love it because I'm tired of carrying two devices. Can I have one device that does everything? And he took that voice, built a strategy, used his innovation and technology team to make it. And as soon as they made it, people flocked in. If you were one of those early adopters, let me see you type in IP for iPhone. If you have an iPhone now, let's see how many people rolling with iPhone. I know it's gonna be 50%, I guarantee you. Look, maybe, okay, let me see the Samsung in the house. Samsung, give me an SS for Samsung. Or Android, sorry, Android. Give me Android, because I know I'm rolling with Android myself. But there's a lot of, I'd say it's a good 50%. I don't think iPhone is ruling right now. But initially, iPhone was ruling. But over time, guess what happened? So let's get with the model. So technology and innovation is what captures your customers. Never forget this. What captures your customers is not your strategy. It's your innovation and technology in your products, services, and in your delivery model. So the key buzzword here is innovation, creative way to do something. And after that innovation and technology was combined, then they moved over to where I live. We live in continuous improvement world. What is continuous improvement world? This is where guys like Tyrone live. Lean Six Sigma, digital transformation, agile IT, automation. All of that is under the umbrella called continuous improvement. If you remember on the previous page, they didn't have continuous improvement. They had total quality management. Total quality management was focused on what? Total quality management was focused on, if I do great internally, somebody's gonna buy my stuff externally. You kind of hope and pray, please buy my stuff. But as you can see, BlackBerry tried it, all these companies tried it. When you make stuff and you hope people buy it, a lot of times you fail. But if you listen to the voice of the customer and give them what they asked for, 9 times out of 10, you're gonna win. But the promise keeper, I like this, I call this the promise keeper. The promise keeper is like iPhone. Say you do a great job at voice of the customer, great. Business strategy, you do a great job, great. Innovation and technology, you make the iPhone. Now you're in trouble because now you not only sold the iPhone, but you sold it to 5 million people. Now you have to have a process that can support the management delivery of 5 million phones on time. How do you ship 5 million phones? Operational excellence. How do you sell 5 million phones and make profit? Cost control. How do you ensure you have profit and growth? Doing these other two. So operational excellence is focused on the process. That's the internal piece. I know you want to have external success, but there is a balance. If you sell a lot of stuff, you got to be able to make a lot of stuff. So if your promise keeper of operational excellence is not optimal, you're going to fail, but that's the craziest way to fail, is to have a serious demand and can't deliver. That's like the worst way to fail. So in summary, let's go back through this. Step 1 is voice of customer. Step 2, your strategy. Step 3, innovation and technology of a product or service. And then the last but not least, your promise keeper, your operational excellence. And this is where I'm focused today, is your Lean and Six Sigma. Without your Lean and Six Sigma, you cannot become operationally excellent. You can become good, but you won't become optimal. This is a fact. So if you have total understanding, give me a T and a U for total understanding at this point. Okay, wow. If I have any cues, any questions, any burning question, I'll answer a burning question right now, but I'm thinking you guys are really wise in understanding what's going on at this point. Okay, there's a burning question, give me a cue. If not, I'm gonna move on. Okay, great. Oh, by the way, I wanted to get you guys' opinion on something. Now this is personal, it's probably beyond this, but personal. I think, and this is what some students have told me in the past, they like this power triangle concept. If you think this is a worthy of potentially maybe a small TED talk or something at some point in my career, you guys think it's worthy of a TED talk one day? Give me a TT for a TED talk. I'm kind of interested if you guys like the power triangle. Wow, thank you guys. I really appreciate it. It means a lot. I think this is a great way to capture what happens in business. And if you look at this last piece of the power triangle, fierce competition showed up. I forgot to say that. If you look at before, there were only a top 3 competitors. Once fierce competition shows up, you gotta listen to the voice of the customer or your company will not exist anymore and you'll be replaced by another. So that's all I'm gonna say on that piece. All right, let's see, clear all drawings. Okay, I'm gonna move on. So far, you guys are doing optimally great, doing great. Customer focus. Remember, I talked about customer focus. When it comes to customer focus, what did I say you should start with? What's the beginning of your strategy? Anybody remember what's the beginning of my strategy? Somebody tell me, what's the beginning point? Remember, I showed business plan and strategy. What's the beginning? Not of my power triangle, but remember I showed a slide that split business strategy and and plan. Which one was it? Ah, somebody got it. Okay, who is it? Man, several people got it. Yep, several people got it. You're right, mission and vision. You gotta have your mission and vision right. So in order to capture the customer, you have to have the customer focus, and mission and vision is key. So let's look at Starbucks. Our mission is to inspire and nurture the human spirit, one person, one cup at a time, one neighborhood at a time. That's customer focus. You can see the customer is mentioned in the mission. McDonald's, our mission is to be our customer's favorite place and way to eat and drink. They mention the customer inside the mission. That's customer focus. H&M, a company that's actually failing right now, says our vision is that all of our operations are run in a way that is economically, socially, and environmentally sustainable. Does anybody hear customer in there? If you don't hear customer in there, give me a no, because I don't see customer there. Yep, it's a no, no, no. So that's why they're not really getting the focus they're supposed to get. They're business focused instead of customer. Once again, on customer journey, there's actually an industry leadership that's called customer experience that's focused on the customer journey. And what I wanted to say here is 67% of marketing leaders say creating a connected customer journey across all touch points and channels is critical to the success of their overall marketing strategy. So basically, marketing can't exist without customer connectivity. If everyone understands this slide, give me a U. There it is. Without customer journey, you don't know what you're doing. Here's a letter. I'll be very brief on this letter. This is an old school letter I got from Michael Dell. This was signed by Michael Dell, but there's a reason for me showing it. It says, congratulations, you're a part of our first global BPI. BPI was Dell's version of Six Sigma. It says, your efforts and ideas have contributed to what? Significant cost, savings, or productivity. What was Michael's focus back in year 2000? Everyone write it down. Cost. What was the other one Mike wanted? Productivity. So Mike wanted cost and productivity. And let's see who he says it's good for. These changes are good for Dell. Is that internal or external? Give me an I or E. Dell is what? I or E? Our team, is that I or E? Customers, I or E? Yup. Shareholders, I or E? Okay, so you can see, even back in 2000, there wasn't really a focus on customers yet. Over the years, it came. So here's Amazon. Amazon says there, here's Amazon's mission. Look what it says. To leverage technology and expertise to our employees to provide customers with the best shopping experience. Their vision is also a customer one, to be the Earth's most customer-centric company, and then they give you your values. So Amazon is all over it. Be obsessed with the customers, not the competitors. Here's a good one for you. If anybody's ever had ketchup, you might have seen this old-fashioned bottle. How do you get the ketchup out? They made that bottle shape for the brand. That's purely branding. And then you see the customer-centric one has this cap upside down. Somebody tell me, why did they design the ketchup to be upside down with the cap there? What's the reasoning? Easy access. Yeah, this branding was killing them. Nobody could get the ketchup out. So being customer-centric wins. So what about cost? Poor quality costs a typical company 15 to 20% of sales annually. So as I said before, Lean and Six Sigma can help you get costs under control. Look at this, scrap. Lean Six Sigma can help you fix that. Rework, rejects, warranty claims, additional labor costs. Even under the iceberg, the less visible things, Lean and Six Sigma can help you to reduce those defects through continuous improvement. So here's the continuous improvement model that I recommend for you. Always start with the VOC. Feed the VOC into your business strategy. Break it down into your lean things, which is going to be a stabilization, how to reduce waste in your process. So if I have 20 steps in my process and I can remove wasteful actions or steps, now I can do it in 10 steps from 20 to 10. That's removing waste. That's what lean does. Six Sigma, on the other hand, gives you optimization. Once I'm left with 10 steps, how do I use them valuably to be right on target every time? So here's Lean and Six Sigma combined. Lean, I told you, reduces waste and stabilize you. Six Sigma is focused on being on target and optimizing you with no variation. And when you put the both together, you got a 1-2 punch that will reduce costs, increase growth, increase profitability, and excellent customer satisfaction. If everybody understands this LSS so far, give me an LSS. Perfecto. Now you might ask me, so what? What if we do Lean Six Sigma? Are we going to make money? I already told you you're going to make money, but some people like to see it in black and white. For those of you in the show me the money mode, we'll do like they said in Jerry Maguire, show me the money. Well, here it is right here. Lean Six Sigma business results. General Electric, 2 billion plus. Motorola, 1 billion plus. And this is many, many years ago in the 1990s. Billion plus, DuPont, billions, Johnson Controls, millions and billions. So this is just a few companies. Right now, using Lean Six Sigma, I've seen in a recent article that Lean Six Sigma globally has saved the world over $327 billion. If you doubt me, do your research, Google it, it's there. So the key is no projects, no success. The key to Lean Six Sigma is not a methodology. The key to Lean Six Sigma is doing something to your business to improve. So the last few topics are innovative business model. I'll kind of go through that briefly. What is the innovative business model? Innovation comes from, I told you, great ideas put into action. So what is innovation at a startup level? A startup innovative business model is there is no model in place and you do something new. Can somebody think of a startup innovative business model that wasn't there? I could say one was, what was this thing called? I want to say one, can someone type in an innovative business model that was there? Well, Airbnb was already there. Tesla, Uber were already models, but they changed the model. There was a model to do that. So I'm thinking the only thing I can think of was Twitter. Was there a Twitter before Twitter? I don't think there was anything like a Twitter. And then from Twitter, everybody else did their version. So that would be a startup model. A business model that transforms is one that changed into another. Airbnb would be that, where you had a model for how people can use their home in order to make revenue like a hotel. And then you got model diversification, where you have a model and you add another model on top of it. That's knows doing that diversification. I can tell you who's doing that. That's, what's these guys? Amazon. Amazon did electronics and stuff like that and books. Did you heard of Amazon has a Whole Food store? I think it's called Amazon Eats or something like that, or Uber. Uber has Uber Eats now as well as Uber. So that's that. And then you can just do an acquisition. So there's a lot of ways to have an innovative business model. So what is an innovative business model by definition? By definition, it's the development of a unique concept supporting an organization's financial viability based on its mission and the process of bringing those concepts to fruition. So in simple terms, it's listening to the voice of the customer and giving the customers what they want at an affordable price. And that's where Airbnb came along and these other ones. Here's some of the models right here. You probably heard of them. You heard of Alibaba. That's a really, some of them even called disruptive too. Disruptive. Have you heard of the term disruptive? Give me a Y. Have you heard of disruptive? Yep, disruptive. You know what disruptive means? Disruptive. Disruptive means an innovative way that was never done before that shakes up the existing market to where the existing market is nervous, you're going to take all the market share. That's disruptive. Can you think of a technology that's a disruptive technology now that we see coming? Anybody type in? Give me, it's only 2 letters needed. Give me 2 letters of a disruptive technology. Not business model, but technology. Bitcoin, yep, Bitcoin is one. The 5G, oh, 5G is big time. AI, look at you guys go. Virtual reality, VR. There's another one that goes with VR. What's the other one? AR, Internet of Things. And so there's a lot of disruptive technologies. These are business models, not technologies. Business model means there's a business wrapped around it. A technology means it's something you can do. If everyone's good here, give me a G for good on this slide. All right, perfect. I'm moving on. So big data. This is something that Alibaba uses. Look what it says. It says nearly 500 million active users across its websites and apps. Alibaba has this. This is an amazing thing. I always hear the CEO of Alibaba, he always says, we have data now, and we're going to have tons more data later. So those who understand data are going to be the ones that are going to thrive in the future. So let me tell you why business is based on data. Data internally helps you to meet your KPIs, helps you to understand your customer experience, and understands how you to operate excellently. That's what operational excellence and data does. How do you operate excellently? And Lean and Six Sigma allows you to use the data to come up with the methodology and techniques and the things to improve in order to get operational excellence. So here's the formula. Data plus Lean Six Sigma people equals operational excellence. Data by itself, with just people with Harvard business degrees and people that have project management certifications, let me show you I'm going to give you a formula for you. Data plus Harvard graduate plus project manager plus 6 supervisors. Is that going to guarantee you operational excellence? Yes or no? You guys tell me. You got the formula. Well, I got a Harvard grad. I thought Harvard grads is all you need, Ivy League. No, you just don't need intelligent academic people. You need people that are trained to look at data to allow your data to be used operationally excellent. Next slide. I'm going to prove it to you. I'm going to prove it to you. I don't like to just talk. I'm going to prove it to you. So one of the key things CEOs are doing on a CEO survey, you know what they said? We're investing in people and helping them continually develop their skills to be embedded in the company culture. So if you want to change the culture, you got to change the people. People are culture. When you talk culture, you're talking humans. I never heard of a bunch of robots having culture. Oh, where we have the robotic culture, we always let our red dot on our head flash when we see someone. There isn't no culture for robots. Culture is for humans. And what you'll realize is CEOs are now investing, it says here, CEOs plan operational efficiencies to help drive growth versus 77% of the CEOs globally. So what they're saying is all the CEOs, be it US or global, are going to use operational efficiency to drive growth. I don't say it. This is from a survey. This is not from Tyrone's mouth. This is from a survey. If everyone understands, give me a U for understand. That's the bottom line. Operational efficiency is king, okay? And having the right mix of people in your company is going to allow you to be successful. I don't need to go over the rest of this stuff regarding what CEOs are going to do. The CEO said they're going to go after AI. We said these are disruptive technologies, blockchain, IoT. They're going to go for 3D printing and a combination of all that stuff. But here's another key thing I will mention. Most businesses are looking at what is this? The fourth revolution. The fourth industrial revolution says 4-1R. It should be 4IR. The fourth industrial revolution. Anybody heard of the fourth industrial revolution? Give me a 4IR if you've heard of it. This is the future. Actually, we're in the fourth industrial revolution, but not too many people know about it. You're in a revolution you don't even know about. So let me tell you about it. So are we ready for the fourth industrial revolution? To make the most of the fourth industrial revolution, companies must listen closely to their, I'm not even going to say the word. You guys type in the letter. What do they listen to? It's right there in black and white. Well, actually, it's in white and brown. Okay? But yeah, you got to listen to the customers. The voice of the customers is going to be king for the fourth industrial revolution. What is it? Let me tell you what it is. The fourth industrial revolution is the way we describe the blurring boundary between physical, digital, and biological worlds. It's a fusion of AI, robotics, 3D printing. It's a fusion of all the technologies. Here's the industrial revolutions over the years. Industrial Revolution 1 was steam power. Man used steam to get things done. Industrial Revolution 2, electricity. Man used mass production and assembly lines to get things done. Industrial Revolution number 3, silicon-based, computers, electronics, automation, factories came along. And that was Industrial Revolution number 3. And last but not least, here it is, guys. Cyber physical and socio-technical solutions and systems, Internet of Things and networking. Cyber physical means, cyber means internet, physical means sensors. If you notice in some car garages, when you drive over a sensor, it sends a message outside by Wi-Fi, there's no parking in that spot. Soon as you drive off of it, parking available goes to your cell phone. Anybody familiar with this? Give me an F for familiar. This is IoT. IoT is anytime you have a sensor and you can see it on Wi-Fi and know what to do next. So cyber physical systems and also socio-technical, such as Facebook and Snapchat and all these are technical, but they're social engines. So that's Industrial Revolution 4.0. You need to understand how your company is going to connect to that. Almost every company has what? A Facebook now. What do they have? Facebook. I don't have all these social media, so I'm behind the curve. Facebook, Snapchat, blah, 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 blah. They got so many things I can't keep up with them. All right. And then you got the Industrial Revolution 5 is coming. You guys are laughing because you're not even doing 4 and there's already a 5. Yep. There's already an Industrial Revolution 5. And what it says is, in response to the 21st century connection of innovation, they want inclusivity. Basically what they're saying with Industrial Revolution 5 is, now that we have all these computers and we got robots and things, how do we work in harmony with the robots? How do humans work with the robots without using our identity as humans? That's going to be a challenge in Industrial Revolution 5. We're not there yet. Just be prepared for it. So how do you get to the next revolution? Technological revolution. When robots become cheap, when robotic products are cheap, when artificial intelligence is cheap, when everything becomes low price and available, that's when you're going to get the next industrial revolution. Just like when a steam engine was a big deal, a big innovation, but until coal was readily available and coal was readily used by everybody, it didn't become a commodity for the world to use globally. Only some people can use it that could afford it. Just like cars. Like right now, I can tell you right now, everyone doesn't have an electric car. You know why? Those electric charging stations are not everywhere yet. As soon as that technology catches on, everybody's going to be electric. See it coming. So critical thinking. I know I'm probably going over a little bit of time. Let me see what my time says. Oh, wow, I went over. I'm over by a little bit. If you guys want me to continue, give me a C to continue, or I can shut down. What do you guys want? If you want me to keep rolling, give me a C for continue. All right, seems like there's some excitement here. I'll continue. All right, obviously I had a lot of information to share as I told you, but I think it's gonna be valuable for you. Critical thinking, what is critical thinking? It says here, decision-making, judgment, process, rationale, capacity. Let's see how it works in business. Well, critical thinking, well, what is it? It is a soft skill. Objective thinking is when you have clear data. Hey, we have 5 of these items. There's 5 on the shelf. We have a total of 5. That's objective thinking because we know what's there because we can physically see it. But critical thinking means we have to look at something and think about it based on the evidence. We have to be able to make a decision. And if the evidence is compelling enough, we do it, but if the evidence is not compelling enough, we don't do it, but there has to be a little risk involved. So when you're doing critical thinking, there's some risk involved. And here are the skills that you need to have in order to critically think: analysis, interpretation, inference, explanation, self-regulation, open-mindedness, and problem solving. And the ones that I bolded in red are the most subjective ones, especially interpretation as well. But the ones I are the bold in the red are less subjective, sorry. The less subjective ones are in red. The subjective ones are in the black. So how do you get cultural change? So we just talked about critical thinking. Now, how do you change your culture? Well, DuPont. And is there anybody ever heard of the DuPont Bradley curve? If you've heard of it, I'll be very impressed. This is not something you talk about over dinner with a family member. If you heard of the DuPont Bradley curve, give me a DB for DuPont Bradley, if you heard of it. If you haven't heard of it, give me an N. Some people haven't heard of it. So I'll give you the simple version of it. The simple version of it says, to get people to change to do something, you have 4 phases of that over time. And what you'll find is over time, they will eventually embrace what you're motivating them to do. So for example, when DuPont first looked at injuries, they had a very high injury rate of employees. So natural instincts would tell employees, hey, nobody wants to get injured on purpose. So based on natural instinct, they were very reactive. And the key components was safety by natural instinct, but they had a lack of management involvement. So the management kind of leave them on their own. So that had a high injury rate. But to take it down, supervision got involved. Now it's dependent. Now management says if you don't do it, guess what? You're gonna have discipline, you're gonna have procedures, you're gonna have rules, you're gonna have training. So now management took a look at it and now it went down again. The next one, it becomes self-independent. Now that you understand and you got the knowledge of why you don't want to have an injury, then you can become self-motivated. That becomes an independent commitment. And then last but not least, you got a team one where the team is working together as a collective because you're caring about each other. Now, if everybody understands this cultural curve, give me a U for understand. This is very powerful. If you think this was powerful, give me a P. I personally think it's very powerful to understand this curve. I've actually seen this curve in the opposite direction with Dell. This is an actual DuPont Bradley, basically with Dell, with business operational excellence. This is where Dell started in the 1990s. They started making Lean Six Sigma a standard part of business. They first started in manufacturing only. If you look at this in the blue, it shows you how much finance they made in the millions. If you look at this in the millions, when they first started it, I was there, they made 10 million. I was part of that first Dell team to be trained in Six Sigma back in the 90s. That's why I got that letter from Michael Dell, by the way. But anyway, I was one of the 10 people here, and out of 10 people, each person came back with $1 million+ in savings. So that was really huge. Michael Dell says, wow, we got Lean Six Sigma trained people here. We got 10 people trained in Lean Six Sigma, and each one of them brought back $1 million+ in cost savings. I want the whole company to do Lean Six Sigma. So that's how this evolved. What he said was, in 1999, we only have it in one part of the business. Guess what? I want it in all the parts of the business. So then he told us we need to put it in worldwide manufacturing and product group and supply chain. And then we made some more money in 2000. So if you notice, here is the number of trained belts on the right-hand side. As we train more belts on the right-hand scale, look how much money we made on the left-hand scale. So you can see there is a direct relationship. The more people we train, the more savings we got. 2001, the more trained, more savings we got. Look at this, it went exponential. The more people we train, the more savings we got. And then last but not least, after three or 4 years, it became the winning culture. This is what I wanted you to get to. You can't have a winning culture until you start to win in one area. So the key was the first area we did Lean Six Sigma, And then over time, we trained more and more and more and more people till 100% of the workforce at Dell had some level of Lean Six training, Lean Six Sigma training. Yellow belt, green belt, black belt, master black belt. I was a master black belt there. If everybody understands this Dell model, give me a D for Dell and I'll move on. This could be your company. This is how Dell did it. You can do the same thing to get operational excellence. It starts with just the desire to go do it. Okay. Now, I'm moving on to what's the old school method? The old school method before continuous improvement, before Six Sigma was this. And you might be one of these old school companies. So the old school was to improve your business was to do the famous balanced scorecard by itself. The other famous thing to improve the business strategy, SWOT. That's famous. The other one is TQM. That's famous. And then also you can do mergers and acquisitions. That's famous too. But my question to you is this the new school or the old school? You probably know already because I trained you. But this is the old school way of doing things. So let me ask you just to prove it. Just because I do a balanced scorecard, is that going to promise me operational excellence? Yes or no? Tell me what you guys think. Is the balanced scorecard going to give me operational excellence? Nope, ain't going to happen. Is doing a SWOT analysis, strengths, weakness, opportunity, and threat, is that going to get me operational excellence? Nope, ain't going to happen. Is total quality management going to get me operational excellence? It might get you some from a quality point of view, but remember, there's other things. There's what? Quality, cost, and delivery. TQM doesn't focus on cost. That's why I said TQM is a maybe, because it doesn't focus on cost. You might do something quality-wise and get a cost benefit as a byproduct, but TQM doesn't come into the door looking for cost efficiency, and it's not coming in the door looking for business process optimization. No way, no how. And if anyone wants to tell me TQM gives you optimization, we can have a sidebar conversation anytime, any day. But I can tell you now, it's not going to happen. TQM is not going to optimize anything. Mergers and acquisitions, it is what it is. Those are just financial activities in order to improve your bottom line. So I'll ask everybody a question. How many people have either operates now on this type of business model to get operational excellence or in the past? So give me an N if you work this way now. Give me a P if you've done it in the past. And give me a 0 if you've never seen it. Past, N, or 0. See, I've seen some past. I see some zeros. Okay, and some past. I see a lot of past. So let me tell you the future. Well, before the future, I got a test for you. I didn't tell you guys, there was a pop quiz. Here's your pop quiz. And I can't wait to see the answers here. Here's the pop quiz. Without using, here's your business challenge. Here's the business challenge. There's a Pizza Hut company. Pizza Hut company. There's Barbara's Domino's and there's Mikey's Domino's. These are the delivery times from each store. There's 10 deliveries from Barb's and there's 10 deliveries from Mikey's. So here's my question to you. My question to you is the following. If you look at this model, Barb's Pizza has this delivery times. Mikey's Pizza has these delivery times. Here's what I'm going to ask you. I want to give out a $20,000 bonus to the pizza store that on average is 30 minutes plus or minus 5 minutes. So which store is the best performer? And can you tell by looking at the data over here? And what other analysis do you might need? So using your eyeballs, I want to see in here what you guys determine should get the best, or which one is closest to 30 minutes. So put a B for Barb and give me an M for Mikey. Which one is closest to the average of 30? Okay, I see a lot of Mikeys. I see a few Barbs. I see a few Mikeys. Okay, looks like Mikey has the most votes, right? But this is where I get a chance to have fun with everybody. A lot of people pick Mikey to be the most consistent, right? But here's where the trouble begins right now. Because you picked one over the other, but guess what? I fooled you all. Guess what? If you look here, I'm going to show you that each one of them had the same exact mathematical average. Let me clear all drawings. Look at this mathematical average here. The top one is Barb. Barb is the orange one. And the green one is Mikey, the tight one. You got a skinny one here, Mikey, and you got a wide one here, Barb. But here's the thing. Mathematically, they both got 29.9. So that means on average, they're the same. So that anybody who said one was better than the other, I fooled you all. Everyone, if I fooled you, give me an O for okay, because I got you. I fooled you. And this is what I wanted to teach you here. Most companies manage performance of a process based on averages only. They manage based on averages only. They'll do the average time to do this, the average time, the average amount of data they got per a week, the average amount of additive to a particular process. All that's based on averages. But you know what? Averages lie. So I'm going to teach you something. Averages lie. Because if you only look at the average, you'll make a determination on performance that's not true. So you said one was better than the other, and the fact is they're not average-wise. But one varies more. So in order to measure variation, you have to have another measure. And another measure you need is called standard deviation. Standard deviation. So in order to know true performance of a process, if you're not collecting standard deviation, you make the same mistake as Mikey and Barb, and this can be on a multi-million-dollar level. If these were two multi-million-dollar stores, and you said one was performing better than the other, and then you send all your customers to Barb's, you would have been in trouble. This could be a hospital. This could be a hospital emergency room. And I ask you, which emergency room is performing better? You say, hey, they're the same. That would be considered a lie because one is varying more. So what is my point? Without Lean Six Sigma data analysis, you're looking at Lean Six Sigma data analysis. Without Lean Six Sigma data analysis, you would never see standard deviation. You would only see the average. And if you only see the average, you can fail and make a poor determination. Now, if you clearly understand what I just showed you, I would like for you to put in there AVG for average and STD for standard deviation. If you know the difference between the two of them now, give me an AVG and an STD. So my point to you now, never, ever, 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 ever tell your business you're performing well without looking at both metrics. One of the problems with KPIs, 80 to 90% of KPIs are averages. And if you're basing your process improvement and optimization on average, you might hit this on average, but be varying dramatically different. So you have to look at it using a lens of Lean Six Sigma. That's why you need Lean Six Sigma trained professionals to give you a display like this so that you can see how well you're performing. So if everyone understands the keys to true performance is looking at the data, not just looking at a numerical average. If you understand, it's about the data, not just the average. So if you understand it's about the data, give me an AD for about the data, not just the average. Okay, this is critical. If you run your business on average, you're going to be in trouble. I just proved it to you. You're going to be in trouble. This is not a maybe, it's a fact. So here's it is. So the bottom line, your strategy should be looking like this. Here's the 5-step strategy you should use versus the strategy, a balanced scorecard and all that. This won't get you operational excellence, but this one will. Here's the strategy to get operational excellence. You might want to take a snapshot of this with your screensaver. This right here is the money saver. This is the money slide. Of all the slides I showed you in the whole deck, this is the money slide. Take a screenshot of this. You can improve anything in the world with these 5 steps. Step 1, understand the true problem statement. Within that, map out the process so you can clearly see what's going on. Step 2, do lean, stabilize, remove the waste from the process. You do that, then you'll be left with nothing but business value. 3, do Six Sigma. What you saw on the previous page, when you look at standard deviation, you instantly became a Six Sigma authoritarian. Six Sigma looks at variation and standard deviation. If you only do lean, you'll only come up with averages. You won't be optimal until you go to the Six Sigma level. So go to Six Sigma to get optimal. Then once you get optimal, if your humans and your machines can't get you more than your optimization you're looking for, then you have to do what they call a DOE, a design of experiments. And you might have to do semi-automation where it's human with some type of equipment or software. And if you're still not getting the performance objective you're looking for, last but not least is full automation. That's when you pull all the humans out and you let robots do it. But you know why a lot of companies are failing right now? Because they're not following these 5 steps. You know what they do? They get a problem at step 1, they bypass lean, they bypass Six Sigma, they even bypass semi-automation and go to full automation. You know why that's a problem? Because if they had a 20-step process and those 20 steps were not valuable, if they took those 20 steps and fully automated, guess what? If there's wasteful things within that process, you just automated waste and you just created more waste. If you guys get what I'm saying, give me a G, forget it. This is pervasive across almost every business I've been to. They say, Tyrone, we have all these problems. We want to go to full automation to get rid of them. Full automation is not going to get rid of it. What you need to do is look at your problem, do lean first, remove the wasteful stuff. So if you got 20 things, now you're only doing 10 valuable things. And of those 10 valuable things, you might be able to do it with humans. Use some Six Sigma to optimize your human capital. If you can optimize your human capital, no need for automation. Keep the humans. They're cool. They're great. It's good to socialize. But if they can't get it, then they might need a scanner. Actually, I've done this at Dell. When I was at Dell, we had a pick-to-light process where you pick a part that had a light up, and then you put it in the box. But after you do about 100 picks, people were picking from the wrong area. People were making mistakes in the box. Now, they asked me to come along. They said, Tyrone, come along and fix it. You know what I did? I used technology. But first, I went through lean first. Then we can do there, pull some wasteful steps out. Then I did the Six Sigma. Where's variation? There was no variation. They either did it right or did it wrong. And that's where semi-automation came along. I put scanners. So now they pick the part, they scan it, and if a green light comes up, put the part in the box. If a red light comes up, put it back and get the right one. So I used the technology as a filtering device so that the customer wouldn't see any mistakes. I didn't prevent the error, but I created a pokey-yoke device to keep that error from being seen by the customer. Worked fine, lasts a long time. And then I think now they're doing fully automated where humans aren't even picking the parts anymore. It's so fast, they have robots doing it. So that's the 5 steps. If you understand this one, you got the winning game. So if you got this one, give me a WG for winning game. If you understand this 5 steps, you win. You're a winner right now. All right, last but not least, strategic transformation. This is quick and easy. What is digitization? Digitization is essentially taking something analog, which physically you can do, and turn it into ones and zeros. A good example of digitization is going paperless. You heard of people saying, oh, we're going paperless. How you go paperless? You have a paper right here, and then to go paperless, all you gotta do is take this paper, scan it in, and now you're paperless. That's called going paperless. That's called digitization. So now you get that one. Okay, the next one is digitalization. Digitalization is the use of digital technologies to change your business. So that's when you actually use digitization for a purpose. That becomes digitalization, and that's the taking of the paper and making it into ones and zeros so that you can distribute it quicker and save it better. Digital transformation, last but not least. What is digital transformation? that is several digitalizations projects put into one. So if you're going to digitally transform, digital means what? Take it from analog to ones and zeros, and transform means take it from one state to another. But here's the big mistake. Most people think digital transformation and digitalization are the same. They're not. So that is a big, big mistake if you think that digital transformation and digitization or digitalization are the same. So let's look at this digital transformation here. As you can see here, the top 3 goals of digital transformation are with the customer. They want to improve the customer experience. There it is. I mentioned that all throughout this presentation. The next one is competitive advantage with sharing information, going paperless. I said that. Last but not least, creative new business models. How do you use the digital transformation to use your human people and your robots and your systems together more effectively? Here's how you do digital transformation. You look at these key areas, your strategy. You want to use digital transformation there. You want to use it with your staff. You want to use it with your process. That the yellow box is where Lean Six Sigma lives. This is where Lean Six Sigma lives, in the process and innovation area. Then technology, IT, and then data analytics. Now, if you see in the analytics there, it mentions the word insights. There's 2 ways to look at data. There's internal data that's good for operational excellence. And then there's another set of data, external, called data scientist data, which is the big data and the metadata. Metadata and big data is customer buying habits. Whenever you see on Amazon, it says customers that bought a camera also bought a customer case and bought a memory card and all that. Those types of understandings come from big data. Big data allows you to see how customers not only react to one product, but several products. And that kind of insight is what businesses are using to drive sales. So instead of waiting for customers, oh, customer, what would you like to have tonight? Would you like to have peanut butter at 2 in the morning? Would you like to have a hamburger at 4 a.m.? Well, instead of asking questions, they got the data. They actually got when you purchased that burger, 4 a.m. They got online when you purchased that jacuzzi. They can pull that data of what you did, and the data scientists can look at it and feed that information back to marketing, so marketing knows what to sell next year. That's insight. Everybody gets insight. Give me an I for insight. Insight is the external KPIs of the customer, and the internal KPIs is what we do with continuous improvement, operational excellence. You put them together and you can win. The biggest growth market, I'm telling you now, is companies are putting billions into insight now and are hiring data scientists so that they can tell them what to sell the most of. But then when it comes back internally, you have to have the operational excellence to deliver on the promise. So if you ever get lopsided and get a lot of sales and you can't deliver, you got a terrible company. All right, so knowing what to digitize, I told you, is key. Integrating a Lean Six Sigma framework to your business goes beyond operations and actually allows you to navigate new terrains. Digital transformation, change the way organizations interact internally, externally. The last bottom line here, given the incorporation of new innovations into business functions, operational process as a foundation, Lean Six Sigma is the best platform. There you go. So next steps. I know I probably went on to, wow, I went 30 minutes longer. But next steps. How could you take advantage of what you learned today? Quite easy. Take what I learned, take what I taught you today and utilize it to your best advantage. A lot of it's free. First step, determine steps to become customer-centric. If your current mission and vision is not customer focused, change it. That's free. You can go do that now. What's the next one? Define the optimal innovative business model. How do you operate now? Are you like an Uber? Are you like a Lyft? Are you like a Airbnb? Can you use that model? Maybe that model is not good for your work environment. So those are some things to question you. Here's the biggest opportunity here that I can see. Develop a plan to train your people 100% over time to get cultural change. Remember, we talked about critical thinking. We talked about operational excellence. Those are the things that we can do for you at LEORON, is teach you the methodology to get operational excellence. And a lot of it comes from the Lean Sensei. It comes from champion training. It comes from Lean Six Sigma, yellow belt, green belt, and it creates critical thinkers and problem solvers for your business. Last but not least, train and prepare your teams so that they can be ready for digital transformation, customer light, and industrial revolution 4.0 and beyond. And if you get your people ready for critical thinking and problem solving, you're also going to set them up for the future. So once again, in closing, I know it's a big challenge out there in life right now that we're dealing with the pandemic, but the good news is, using your time now wisely, you can take some virtual trainings to bring your people up to speed and build that bridge over the fear of risk, over the fear of being ineffective. You can build a bridge over how do you have processes that are innovative enough to be done at home, even though they're not done now. You might have a situation where you have like how you can control a drone. You might have the remote capability to control machines. I know right now they have doctors that have the remote ability to do surgery with 2 joysticks, sitting somewhere. Somebody in Kansas can do our surgery, and somebody in Africa using joysticks. So that's remote work right there. So maybe the future remote work is a robot sitting in there and you manipulating the robot from home. But whenever you come back to work, the robot gets slid out and then you go back to work. So there's a lot of creative models out there how you can overcome the challenge we have today. Today was just an eye-opener. So in closing, I thank you all for this time that I got a chance to share with you my excitement and the things that I do and the things that I find exciting. And although we're in tough times, there's always hope. And from me to you, I hope you enjoyed this presentation. I hope it was informative. I hope it was worth your time. And I hope going forward, you make some innovative changes and you change your business and you change how you do things. And also you train your people so that they can be more effective in your business. This is Tyrone signing off. Take it away, Rissy. I'm going to open it up for Q&A now. Sorry.
All right. Thank you very much, Tyrone. So all participants now can address and can ask questions. So yeah. So you can answer, at the same time as well.
Okay. Any questions? So if there's no questions, 1 or 2 things. Either I did a great job of explaining everything to the letter, or you guys were bored.
Okay, here's a question.
Okay. What are the top 3 metrics for lean? Okay, when you say top 3 metrics, there isn't a metric. There is within lean, there's efficiency ratings. There's an efficiency called OEE, if you've heard of it. OEE usually deals with a mass production environment, and it looks into your operational efficiency and effectiveness, and allows you to see how well you're performing from an availability point of view, a quality of performance defect point of view, and time. So it's your overall equipment efficiency. There you go, OEE. There you go. So, but that's only in certain areas. Any other questions? Let me see. There's a bunch of them scrolling by. I'll make you see if I can catch up. All right. Let me pull down. Yeah, they're scrolling by faster than I can get it. Hold on, guys. I'm trying to scroll back. Okay, 4V. What was 4V? What did somebody just put 4V there? I don't know what that means. What is the difference between continual and continuous improvement? From my perspective, continual and continuous are the same thing, unless somebody looked at it from a semantics point of view. Continuous, continual, both mean don't stop. That means It's a continuum, whereas you might look at Six Sigma alone. Six Sigma has a start and stop. You will start a Six Sigma project on a certain day. You'll go through define, measure, analyze, improve, and control, and then you'll stop, and that project will be complete. So within Six Sigma, projects have a start and stop. But when it comes to lean, it's a philosophy. It never stops. Lean goes around and around and around, and it never stops. It's what they call a philosophy. Okay, benefits of Six Sigma versus negative. The only negative downside I can see to Six Sigma or lean is upper management. Upper management fails to understand the power of lean and Six Sigma. I'll give you an example. I once had a leader give me 2 sets of data. They gave me data of, for example, the model of car that we have. Say we make a car. We make 3 different cars, 3 models. And they said, Tyrone, which model car is we're going to sell the most of next year? Well, one data column was what model car was. The next data column was just the price we sold it. Do I have enough information to tell you about the sales next year? Just price and car? Maybe, maybe not. Is that correlation? Is the lower price mean you're going to sell more? You don't know if that correlation is true or not, is the point. So when you start looking at correlation and regression, you have to have 2 data sets that have a correlation to each other. If there's no correlation, you can't make any inference. And that's where leaders get in trouble. Leaders try to make inference on data that doesn't correlate. So he's telling me, how much sales we're going to have next year? I need more data. What else you need? You got the selling price. You got the car type we sold. Hey, what's going to sell next year? I need more inputs to give me that. That's why companies are looking for insight. That's why they're looking for data scientists, because data scientists are going to be able to supply all of that customer buying information so I can do the correlation regression and tell them what they need to do. Okay, another question. Let's see. Six Sigma improved current EH&S, definitely. Someone said voice of customer, VOE, VOB. Voice of customer is your external customer. VOE, that's voice of employee. That's your employee satisfaction working within your company. And VOB is voice of the business. This is what the leadership wants to see in the shareholders. The shareholders want to see profitability and growth. That's the VOB. And the VOP is the voice of the process, which is the limitations and capabilities of the process within spec limits. Okay. EH&S. I used to work in the EH&S department, and one of the things we used to do is use Lean Six Sigma as a methodology to reduce injuries. Every company has injury logs, and most companies in the US have an OSHA 200 log, which keeps track of different categories of injuries. There's slips, trips, and falls. There's lacerations. There's a couple of other categories I can't remember. Cumulative trauma disorders. And what you do is you do a Pareto chart of the biggest one causing you the issue, and then you do the 5 steps I talked about. Step 1, problem statement, process mapping. Step 2, can we do lean to reduce any variation within what they're doing? So use the same methodology there to understand what they're doing, and you'll come out with a good result. It doesn't matter what area you're working in, those 5 steps will work. Anybody else? Most of the countries now are on lockdown, especially those which are not included. From what you have shared, any reduction to help small business owners while they suffer the laws these days? Yeah, how do you help small businesses? What small businesses can do now is 2 things. Get the wisdom now, get knowledge. Take courses such as this one, arm your people with critical thinking and problem solving. This pandemic is not going to last forever. When we come out of it, the companies that are poised, that have their people trained, and the people that have the deep understanding are going to come out winning. I'll give you a good example of this. If you guys remember Toyota, Toyota is a very famous company. Toyota had a challenge where they had a accelerator pedal that was defective or it had a defective use. And they had to shut down sales and production for 2 months. And instead of laying off people, you know what Toyota did? They did lean projects within the company. Everybody came to work and everybody got a full paycheck, but instead of sitting on their hands doing nothing, they used the lean philosophy and the ergonomics to design newer processes so that when they got the green light to go back to work, they went back to work better than they were before. So sitting back, feeling woe is me, the sky is falling because you're not making sales now, you need to be ramping up your mind so that when this thing comes back, how could I be listening to the customer as well as watching the competitors? So my answer to you is, don't sit back and wait for anything. Be proactive, gain knowledge, and start building that bridge. As I said, build that bridge from where you are today to where you want to be, brick by brick by brick. And eventually, as time goes on, the pandemic will be less of an issue and your bridge to freedom will be almost done. So building bridge, that's the answer. Build the bridges. That's your proactive answer. All right. Other question is there a quiz that you can share for this customer improvement webinar? You know what? I didn't put together a quiz. Rissy, put that on as a note. I'll put together a little quiz for this. Somebody wanted a quiz for this. You're probably going to pass. I gave all you guys the right answers already. So, okay. How could you improve your objectives in your current work? It goes back to what I'm saying. Having a sound strategy. I think everyone here that's on this call needs to go back and see if you're doing the things that I mentioned in this webinar. If you're not doing all the things I mentioned in this webinar, you got work to do. So what did I start out with? What was the first thing I said? Voice of customer. You're not doing that? You need to start doing that, as I said before. What was the other thing I said? I said, here, customer-centric. If you're not that way, start doing it. Optimal, innovative business model. If you don't have a good business model, work on that. Start to develop your people. Give them some training. Train your folks. You're not going to get cultural change without your people changing. Train them. So someone wrote, how do you measure the effectiveness of Lean Six Sigma? It depends on what your KPIs are. So one of the KPIs that most companies use to measure the effectiveness of Lean Six Sigma is the following. KPIs are obviously you're meeting or achieving the goals of your KPIs. That's one. You have KPIs around customer experience. You're getting, not only you're not getting complaints, but you're getting accolades. So getting accolades instead of complaints is a great measure of customer experience. Customer satisfaction, NPS score. Anybody ever heard of an NPS score? What is NPS? Somebody do a Google on that. Look up NPS. That's a great way to see how you, as a likelihood to recommend or a likelihood to use, they have scores on this. And it's called Net Promoter Score. There you go. So my point is, there's a bunch of metrics out there that you can measure your efficiency. So remember, operational excellence is a goal. But how do you know you achieve the goal? There's going to be indicators. And I'll tell you, the indicators are NPS, less complaints. You're going to have internally, you're going to have all your KPIs met or exceeded. And externally, your customers are going to be buying more and tell you more about what they want. They're going to, and also it'll help you with your customer relationship management, your CRM, and especially feed it back into your innovation and technology team so they can know what to improve. So in a nutshell, all of these things interrelate. They all interrelate. Any other questions? Okay, someone says, how could you leverage continuous improvement in the blue ocean trend? That's kind of a challenging one. It depends on what's your definition of blue ocean. For me personally, so what, from your perspective, give me your definition of blue ocean. I've heard a lot of different definitions of that, and I don't want to be quoted on your definition of what a blue ocean is. Give me your definition, and based on that, I'll give you my answer. Okay, next one. Lean and Six Sigma should be applied together. No, don't apply Lean and Six Sigma together. Lean is supposed to be done first because you have to remove the waste, and then Six Sigma is done second because after the waste is removed, you're only left with value. Once you're only left with value, then you can go to optimize the leftover value. So one always comes before the other. Don't just do Lean alone and never do Six Sigma because you'll never be optimal. And believe it or not, Toyota only does Lean, but within their operations. And they told me the only reason why they do Lean only is because it works. And none of the competitors have caught up to them. And they're making tons of money. And if it's not broke, don't fix it. But they said they do use Six Sigma for optimization within the innovation and technology of new vehicles. That's what they said. All right. So let's see. Answer these other ones. Okay. Okay. Continuous improvement is not a good time at all time, especially who doesn't have. Yeah. No, you never want to do. It's not considered continuous improvement if it doesn't add value. Doing non-value add things in continuous improvement doesn't make sense. So whenever, like I said, looking at non-value added activities is definitely going to come from that Lean activity, okay? And once you've determined what's value and non-value add, then you optimize the value using the Six Sigma. So it's a 1-2 punch. Okay. Let's see. Someone wrote here, how do we show impact financially happening, results of applying Lean Six Sigma financial? That's a good one. How do you show financially your Lean Six Sigma? Good one. Whenever you start a Lean Six Sigma project, what you should do is sit with your finance team so that you can understand the cost of a defect. For example, if you say that you have a you have a picking problem, you have a picking part problem, and you say, how much does it cost to redo a pick? If you're supposed to pick a software and put it in a box and ship it to someone, if it goes there with the wrong software, where does the cost come from? You need a financial person to tell you where the cost originated, and the cost would be, if you can't put together the cost, it's you and the financial person. So what they need to tell you is, what is the cost of the product, whatever you picked? What is the cost of logistics? What is the cost of the electricity? Right? So really, it's a lot of activity-based costing as well. So the costing of that needs to be done with you and finance to understand what this mistake cost the business. Once you understand what that mistake cost the business, then it's up to you to say that if I have 50 of these mistakes, you would have to come up with what we call an average cost. So you say, if I'm doing a pick, what's the least amount of cost of a pick item? Then if you're doing another pick, what's the largest amount of cost? And then you look at all the ones in between and come up with an average cost per pick. And then based on that, you can say right now, we're getting 500 mistakes a day. And after we did the continuous improvement, we have only 200 mistakes now. And then we make another improvement, we only have 100 mistakes. So basically, by working with finance, it enables you to understand the cost of a defect and then see the impact of improvement. So that's just one particular way, but there's many, many ways to cost out services, and a lot of it's ABC, activity-based costing. Hopefully that answered that question. Okay, guys, there's a lot of questions here. Be quite honest, you can hear my throat's giving out. If you have any more questions, do me a favor, send it to me by text. I'll answer it, but my voice is on its last leg now. I hope you guys had a good time. I hope I answered the majority of what you needed to know. And like I said, if you have any more burning questions, text it to me. I got nothing but time on my hands. I'm on lockdown. All right. Take it away, Rizzi.
All right, thank you very much, Tyrone. I would like to thank one more time all participants on today's webinar. And you guys have our email address, so we will get engaged together in the upcoming Six Sigma Green Belt training and all the other opportunities which you just shared. We would like one more time to thank you, Tyrone, and all participants. So be safe, stay home, and enjoy. Have a lovely evening. And of course, you too, Tyrone. Enjoy. Bye.
Take care. Round of applause to everyone that stood by. Thank you for your time. Take care.